Hey, what's up guys? Nick here on behalf of Monster Bass. I was out fishing the Delta yesterday, getting ready to make a few casts out behind my house, but I wanted to stop and talk to you guys about something. The Squarebill and Chatterbait in the spring. I always have both tied on, not one or the other, and there's a reason for this, and I want to go over that with you guys, maybe help put a couple extra bass in the boat for you this spring. All right, so what I have right here, this is the Bill Lewis Squarebill. This is the new one that Mark Daniels Jr. has been designing. And then I have the Strike King Thunder Cricket. You can call it a chatterbait, a vibrating jig, whatever you want. It's all based around the popularity of the original chatterbait, but now there's new variations. I actually think a Thunder Cricket may be even a little bit better than the original chatterbait, in my opinion, but that's entirely up to you. Now, I always have both tied on in the spring, like I said, and clearly you understand there's application reasons for it. The chatterbait being much more of a weedless style bait, the Squarebill being able to deflect off of rocks easier. But what I want to tell you is what I've experienced over the years. From my experiences, I fish almost every day. And every single spring, I will not have one or the other. I will always have both tied on. And you could say, sure, that's when I'm in and around grass. I'm going to throw a chatterbait style bait. When I'm around rocks, I'm going to throw a Squarebill. And you're wrong. Even though that is the application basis for these as tools, there's a big thing that's going on here. A chatterbait style bait, on average, will catch bigger fish than a Squarebill. The Squarebill catches more numbers of fish, in my opinion, than a chatterbait does, but the chatterbait catches bigger fish on average. But then there's this one rarity. I say if you go out in the spring and you catch 10 bass, one of the bass that eats that dang Squarebill will be bigger than all of the bass that bit the chatterbait. I don't know why this is. I've got more double digits and 8+ pounders on a Squarebill than I do a chatterbait, but I got way more 4 to 7 pounders on a chatterbait than I do the Squarebill. So I can't quite figure out why that is. And even if you're fishing the outside of weed lines, you don't have to deflect with a Squarebill. And oftentimes I'll refer to something as a milk run, and that just means repeating a bank where I caught fish. So let's say I'm coming down with a chatterbait style bait and I catch 1 or 2 decent fish. I may pass, I may turn around and come right back down that same bank with a Squarebill and catch additional fish. My belief is that these get different bites. Different fish bite this and different fish bite this. There may be a day where the fish are all super active and they're going to trigger. Every fish down that bank's going to trigger on either or of them. But in my experiences, they catch different fish, and they both catch fish in similar areas. Shallow, dingy water. They both vibrate a ton. They're going to get a lot of bites if you can't see any deeper than 3 feet. Both of them are a great bait choice. Of course, deflecting off a rock, a Squarebill is going to be better. Of course, coming through grass, the Thunder Cricket right here is going to be better. Another reason I go about the 2 of them on my deck is in the spring it gets very windy. I don't care where you live. I'm in Northern California. It goes, sometimes it's calm in the morning, windy in the afternoon. I honestly believe if it's slick out, you could still occasionally get a bite on a Squarebill. And the Squarebill, I think, is better at forcing fish to instinctually react and slap it out of their face, more so than a chatterbait, unless the water is very muddy. If the water is muddy, you can't see deeper than 6 inches, the chatterbait coming by their face is a better reaction bait at that time. But I'm talking about when, let's say hypothetically, you can see 3 feet down and it's almost slick calm. The chatterbait doesn't work quite as well as a Squarebill, in my opinion. Up to about 12-mile-an-hour wind, I like to throw a Squarebill a lot. Beyond then, I like to throw chatterbait style, like the Thunder Cricket here that I got in my Monster Bass box with a month ago during the Strike King takeover. A lot heavier, more aerodynamic. You can cast farther into the wind. Now, as for wrenching fish out of heavy cover, this is a better choice, okay? If you get them down there, big single hook versus a crankbait. But here's another thing you're gonna notice when you are fishing a chatterbait style bait. You're gonna feel like a thump. If you feel a thump now and then, the fish are reacting to it. Most times with a chatterbait, you'll feel like a little slack come into your line and then you start reeling fast and then it loads up. That's how they eat the chatterbait. But if you feel them thunk the chatterbait and not getting connected with it, that's a reaction, and that's where you should throw something with treble hooks, and vice versa. If they're eating the Squarebill head first, you may want to go down on that bank again and try it with a Chatterbait because they are aggressive, and you'll have better hook up to land ratio with a big single stout hook. So these are some thought processes I have, guys, in the spring when throwing a Chatterbait or a Squarebill. I really want you guys to think about that. I honestly believe if you're having a good day, you can almost double your numbers on a Squarebill, but I think on average you're going to have a heavier bag. Let's say you go out and you only get 5 bites in a tournament. I would much rather get 5 bites on a Chatterbait than I would the Squarebill. But if I caught 3 or 4 on a Chatterbait, which were all good fish, I may go for a kicker, believe it or not, on a Squarebill. And that's been my mindset, guys. I've been fishing full time, going on 12 years, almost every single day, and still that scenario holds up to this very day. I'm just glad to share it with you guys. If you guys are not subscribed to Monster Bass, you should be. Tons of good quality baits coming in the box, guys. We'll see you next time. Appreciate you watching.